Hi, Anne-Marie. Right, one that's
Hi.
probably a little bit topical at the moment is not necessarily much COVID, it's the vaccination. So obviously part of keeping children safe is this grooming idea, or this idea that maybe someone's get a point of view across that maybe could be controversial and could be difficult. So a lot of schools are having to, we don't get a choice, having to host the vaccines for 12 to 15-year-olds. And along came with that a lot of information from the police about possible anti-vaccinators protesting outside of the schools. So schools are suddenly having to protect the students that could be targeted about these anti-vaxxers. But then we've also got several other things that are going on. So we could have anti-vaccine parents, we could have pro-vaccine parents, we could have anti-vaccine teachers, pro-vaccine teachers. When like the safeguarding, we've got to be really careful about grooming or making children feel uncomfortable with it, haven't we? We've got to. And so what do we do with that? Because that's a whole new ball game.
So it's a bit like staff conduct. Okay, so we know as a teacher or as a support staff, as a member of staff, you're obliged to obviously come to work and fulfill your policies, which means you don't bring your personal opinion in anything. It's more about your professional opinion.
Yeah.
So if you're using your personal opinion in it, then you've breached the policy. Yeah. Simple. So it's one where,
But so many people would argue down in America, for example, you're not even allowed to say that you're feminist, or you're not allowed to say that you are lesbian or you're gay. You know, at least with teachers here.
In school, you mean in education?
Here, at least in England, we could say that there is a reasonable amount that we can be who we want to be. But it's starting to sound like we've got to suddenly be we've got to be this non-judgmental, but are we then going to lose the pupils because they can see who we are? They can see that we're true to ourselves. So it's that fine line, isn't it?
It's almost like being in court when you say no comment, because it's so new. It's so new, isn't it? It's so new. And it's so personal, and families were falling out over it. Do you understand? And it's a bit like last year with the Black Lives Matter and Every Life Matters and all those, you know, it went like kind of up and down and home and back again. And I think this is also a similar kind of conversation where it comes back down to your professional role and being non-judgmental in the sense of neutral. So it's you know, as a teacher, we know we talk about things with young people and hear what they have to say. And I think it's one where we just can't put our opinion in it, our personal opinion. It's got to be neutral. It's got to be balanced. It's got to be balanced. You know, it's got to be balanced like anything. It's got to be balanced. It can't be, you know, that'll be in your position of trust. Potentially you're breaching that because you will always have the bigger hand because your authority. Do you understand?
Yes.
And some people really listen to the teacher, don't they? And some
definitely.
don't.
And especially
the majority.
Especially if they've got two parents, one parent who believes in vaccine and one who doesn't, you could be the deciding factor. You could be the
I know, but also, do you know, as you're saying that, Kerry, I'm thinking, and another angle, it could, can you imagine a family that are anti, right? Child goes to school, school teacher does their bit. Teacher then does their bit where convinces the child to get it done. Right, child gets it done and regrets it. Guess what? Allegation. Yeah. So your name is
without the parent consent.
So okay.
So they made it really. In fact, we don't know who's giving consent and not. It's all gone through the NHS. So we as a school.
I thought it was Gillick. I thought they were using the Gillick phrase of competence, weren't they? At one point.
They're not using.
They're not now. No. Okay.
Okay. The difficult we've got is that one parent says yes and another parent says no. But we're not. Schools are not getting involved with that. It's all going to be the NHS that are dealing with that completely.
Okay. I think that's good in one way because you're not involved, and I suppose it's more about the family taking the ownership of it. Do you understand? That's one thing you're not involved in, and I think that way you don't have to get involved. But exactly when they do come in, that's when you have to be neutral and almost like the policy, follow the policy. But I definitely would not encourage anyone to put their bit in the sense of their opinion, because that can go against you, allegations against staff. I can see that happening, believe me, in the sense of, you know, maybe seemed as unsuitable to work with children because of their opinion. It's so new.
Interestingly, they're not. So if a child is in a foster family or adopted family, not adopted, sorry, just a foster family,
Like corporate parent.
The guardian can't even give consent. It's social workers that have to give consent.
Okay.
That's really interesting.
Because PR, when it comes to children in care, the corporate parent would be the local authority.
Yeah.
You know, and if the birth parent's around, whether it's a Section 20 or interim care order, full care order, it really varies. Where adoptive carers get PR. So parents with SGO, do you know the special guardianship orders? Those people would have PR. So it goes back down to whoever has PR.
Yeah.
And we know there's some children who don't live in families with they have PR.
Yeah.
You understand? There's always going to be a few.
And this is another way, in some ways, that students will suddenly realise that they're different.
I know.
COVID was another example where suddenly you'd be coming into school and the children will look at each other and go, well, your mum's not a key worker, why are you in? And of course,
yeah.
This is going to be another one where other children will turn around and go, what do you mean your mum and dad haven't given consent and it had to come from a social worker? And I get why they're doing it, but it's going to be another point where suddenly they're realising that they're different.
Compared to their peers. But then again, it's about creating a culture where we have all different types of families. So again, all this work to be done around inclusion also means you're a child and the world exists in lots of different ways of different types of families. And the more we celebrate and break the nuclear 2.4 family that we were all taught in our training, when we were doing our teaching social work, that's like very 90s and 80s, isn't it? It doesn't happen in our century that we're in. We just need to delete that, really, almost take it out of the textbooks and then just have families, full stop. Do you understand?
So
I think definitely, I definitely would say don't get involved because it's your personal opinion, and we know we do not bring our personal opinion into conversation in the classroom.
It's
just not worth the risk.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Bye.
Thank you.